welcome. You've joined us on Market Cafe this Thursday morning. I'm Ashesha Advaryu. With me is Kanishka Sarkar joining us from our Delhi studio. And this is a show where we take you through all the developments that we are getting from global markets overnight and which are the stocks that you need to keep an eye out on for trade today. But Kanishka, let's get started with how US markets fared yesterday. And most of the major indices ended in the green, isn't it?
Absolutely, Ashesha. Very good morning to you, first of all. Now, those US stocks have been extending their rally overnight, with the Dow jumping nearly 464 points, or 1.04%. The S&P 500, that rose 0.3%, and the Nasdaq, the tech-heavy Nasdaq index, that also edged up about 0.1%. Both these indexes, that is S&P 500 and Nasdaq, they hit fresh record highs for the second straight day in a row. Now, tech was, of course, in focus, with AMD climbing nearly 5.5% and Apple up more than 1.5%, whereas Paramount, Dimes shares, they jumped nearly 37%. Now remember, these gains followed Tuesday's softer than expected inflation trend, which is markets pricing in almost certain Fed rate cut in September. Small caps, they outperformed as the Russell 2000 rose 2%, benefiting from lower rate expectations. Now next up, that is today, traders will watch for US producer price index data for wholesale inflation, followed by key signals from Fed's Jackson Hole meet later this month. So those are the cues that we are watching for the US markets later today.
So that's as far as American markets are concerned. But let's also put the spotlight on the commodity market then. And Brent crude has snapped its two-day losing streak today. It has started with gains of nearly 0.4% as we speak, to trade near that $66 per barrel mark. Now remember, we had an International Energy Agency report, monthly report, that they came out with yesterday, and they've spoken about rising supply going forward. In fact, IEA says they're warning of record supply next year. IEA also goes ahead on record and says that global oil inventories will accumulate at a faster rate than what we saw in 2020 COVID year. So that's some commentary with respect to demand and supply going forward. But remember, all eyes will be on that all-important meeting between US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin. And any kind of talks about peace deal between Russia and Ukraine will be crucial, because that will mean higher Russian oil supply in the global market, which could push global oil prices lower. But let's also put the spotlight on the yellow metal market then. Spot gold is gaining for the third consecutive day today. It is up nearly 0.5% in trade today to trade near that $3,370 per ounce mark. Remember, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent yesterday made some commentary where he again urged the Federal Reserve to go ahead and cut rates in the meeting that is scheduled to happen in September. So bets of rate cut have again risen in the global market by the Federal Reserve, and that is precisely the reason we are seeing that spike up coming in the gold prices. Remember, lower yielding assets like gold benefit when rates come down because they are practically non-yielding, and hence we have seen that spike up coming up 0.4% today. $3,370 per ounce is where the gold is trading currently.